Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari. Gopi Janabalaba Girivaradari. Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Banachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Radha Madhava Gopi Jana Balaba Girivaradari. Gopi Jana Balaba Girivaradari. Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Jamuna Tiro Bandachari. Shri Radha Madhava Astasaki ki jai. Shri Chaitanya Chandradaya Mandir ki jai. It's putting on its skin. Have you seen pictures of the temple in Mayapur? The covering is starting to go on. But we have to fill it up with Krishna consciousness, otherwise the witch, the black witch, will move in. Okay. Narayanam namaskrityam Naram chaiva narotamam Devyam sarasvatim vyasam Tato jayam mudirayat. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us offer our respectful obeisances to Narayan and Nara, to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Vyasadeva, the author. And let's decline this offer here. Here we go. Okay. So, the books are the basis. So Papa says, you're not going to find any science that has no books. Every science has its books. So what to speak of religion without books? I mean, we meet people. Just a week ago, we met somebody who says, well, I believe in chanting, but I don't believe in books. Yeah. Well, books are the expression of people's chanting. So the heart of all of our efforts is the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Purana. Idam Bhagavata Nama Puranam Brahmasamitam Uttama Shloka Charitam Chakaram Bhagavan Rishi Nishraya Shraya Lokasya Swasti Danyam Swasti Ayato Mahat. It's the literary incarnation of God. You know? Krishna appears in different yugas. He appears as Prishnigarbha, he appears as Ram, he appears as Krishna. You know? But in the Kali Yuga, there's no manifest incarnation. Lord Chaitanya is a Chana avatar. You know? In the introduction to Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada has the biography of Lord Chaitanya, the ideal preacher of Srimad Bhagavatam. Gauranatai want to join us. They want us to join them in performing kirtan, right? They don't want to be the objects of enjoyers of kirtan directly. They want to enjoy, serving Krishna. Krishna Madhurya Eka, Krishna Madhurya Eka, Adbhuta Swabhava, Apane Ashvarite Krishna Kari Bhakti Bhava. Conjugal love of Krishna is so nice that Krishna himself wants to come and enjoy it, being a devotee in Madhurya Ras. Yeah. So Srimad Bhagavatam is the heart of all of this, and then Prabhupada was suggesting, of course, this regular curriculum, Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vedanta, Bhakti, like that. And now we've been in our regular program here, which we're struggling along to develop, and this week maybe we'll have more opportunity to work on this, getting it more systemized. A lot of improvement needs to be done. It's very difficult. But now we're finishing off the 4th canto, and so we've been asked to talk about that. So kind of an overview. How many cantos in Srimad Bhagavatam? 12. Yeah. Just like the months of the year. Yeah. So these are the titles you'll find in Prabhupada's books, database.com. Yeah. Creation, Cosmic Manifestation, Status Quo, Creation of the 4th order, notice that's the 4th chapter, the Creative Impulse, Prescribed Duties for Mankind, the Science of God, Withdrawal of the Cosmic Manifestation, Liberation, Summum Bonum. And chapter 11 is a general history, and chapter 12 is looking forward. But Srimad Bhagavatam 2.10.1, Sukadeva Goswami tells Maharaj Pariksit, there are 10 divisions of statements regarding the following in Srimad Bhagavatam. And again, we find almost the same thing. Creation, sub-creation, planetary systems, protection by the Lord. And the Sanskrit here is sarga, visarga, sthanam, poshanam, utaya, manvantar, ishu anukataha, niroda, muktir ashrayaha. So, who's the first commentator on Srimad Bhagavatam? Who did Lord Chaitanya accept as the grandfather of all commentators? Sridhar Swami. Radhika Raman Das and His Holiness Krishna Kshetra Das wrote a book after they graduated from Oxford. They thought, well, what are we going to do now? They said, well, we're famous for the Bhagavatam. So they wrote a book called Contemporary Thinking on the Srimad Bhagavatam, and they interviewed different people. They talked about the Bhagavat recitations in Vrindavan, which are very sophisticated. It was a very nice book. They made this proposal to Columbia University Press, which is one of the most powerful in the world, and they said, okay, yeah, well, it's a good idea, we'll accept it. They don't accept many book proposals, but they accepted it. But he said, many people may not be familiar with the Bhagavatam, and could you write a summary and extracting out different highlights? This is asking a devotee is, would you like to die and go to heaven? Yeah, well, we can do that, yeah. But it's not a small work, because they're expecting something on a scholastic level that basically is going to be the standard in that area for many years to come, maybe forever. I'm reading one thing on Sankhya now. Sankhya Charita. It was written about 1965 or something. So what's that, 40, 50, like 60 years ago, and it's still the standard work, so on. So it was so much work for them, not a small amount of work. And they were saying that when they were doing it, they were afraid, oh my goodness, we're going to have to, talk contrary to Prabhupada. Because everybody knows that Prabhupada's a fanatic, like that, and so on, Oh my goodness, what's going to happen, But they said the first thing they were surprised was that every single thing Prabhupada said was parampara. If Prabhupada was a fanatic, then Bhaktisiddhanta, Gaura-Kishore, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Rupa Goswami, they were all fanatics too. Okay. And then when it came to some word, and Prabhupada was giving a Vaishnava explanation, okay, they went back to the dictionary, and that was the first translation. The Nirukti, the Amarakosh, they were always giving Vaishnava translations as the basic meaning of that word. The impersonal translations were being added as secondary translations, tertiary translations, and so on. You know? So the book they published, it's available if you haven't got it. It's a very good book. I started reading it. Not very thick. It's nice. You know? They did the whole thing, and then they asked somebody to write the foreword, you know, to the thing. And he's a good Sanskrit scholar, you know, well-respected guy, not too old, you know. And because Krishna Kshetra and Radhika have been always presenting themselves as Dr. Ravi Gupta and Dr. Kenneth Bajpayee, and you know, and just trying to like play down the fact, you know. But always somebody comes out and says, "Aha, they're Hare Krishnas, they're Hare Krishnas." Like that's somebody, their enemies. You know. You see one lady always out to get them, you know, so on. You know. So this time the guy who wrote the foreword, they finished the whole thing off, and it says right in there, it says, Ravi and Kenneth are, of course, practitioners and participants in the Iskcon tradition from A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, like that. And so therefore we have the benediction of not only of their very wonderful scholarship, but also their intensive actual practicing of the Bhagavatam in their lives. You know, oh my God, the guy's exposed everything. And then but they couldn't not use it because the guy who's a respected scholar did a lot of work. So he's okay. Maybe Krishna is just telling us time to come out of the closet. And now nobody can say they're Hare Krishnas because somebody else said it, and he said it in a respectful fashion. We're just coming from South America. I mean, before you know that and stuff. And a couple of things I was noticing, my perspective on things, that people in South America, Latin America, were still respecting the United States. Right? Because, you know, what is this? Something like 40% of the entire global budget for military comes from the United States of America. Then China comes in, Russia comes in after that with 15%, and China with 10% or something, you know. So still far and away, you know. Out of maybe 35 aircraft carriers in the world, like 17 belong to the United States, you know. And it's the only country, there's 3 countries that have more than one, and the other ones are like jokes almost. So they run once a year, they get it out and run it around the second one, you know, like that. You know. And all the rest of them, besides the U.S., are all these vertical takeoff things where the fighter planes and stuff can take off vertically, and not full carriers. But almost all the full carriers in the world belong to the United States of America. So, okay, maybe they aren't what they used to be, like the celestial image, you know, but still they're way ahead of everybody else, and people were impressed and following the United States idea, philosophy. But then after people elected, they were thinking, hey, they did that? You know? Yeah. So in any case, because of certain political activities of people in North America, United States, then people said, oh, okay, we're still going to follow them. They got some good ideas, but they don't know everything. So a lot of interest increased in yoga studios and everything else. You know? Then there's the Prabhupada movie that came out. How many people have seen that movie? Seen that there? Okay, yeah. So in South America, they did a very good job. It was translated with subtitles, I think, very well. Then they had a promotion with like a Avanti premiere. It's some very nice place. They invited all the press, and they gave invariably good reviews in the whole thing. Okay, now you can see it at these 6 different places. And so many people came, you know, and had a very big impact in South America about what is the Hare Krishna movement, who are devotees. And some people were coming right to the temples and wanting to surrender. I surrender. I become a devotee, you know, so on, you know. So very, very developing reaction around the world, you know. And so the same way, you know, it's just natural that if we go on, Prabhupada said you go on chanting 16 enthusiastic rounds following 4 principles, eventually, you know, we'll have nations and everything else under our control. Okay, so we can chant Hare Krishna. From Prabhupada's lips, chant Panchatattva mantra, chant Hare Krishna mantra, you've achieved the perfection of life. But if you want to preach, and probably to accelerate the process, you should probably read my books. So we're talking about it. There are different books, Upadeshamrita, Bhagavad Gita, and it's all, you know, study them again and again. When Prabhupada described the Bhakti Vaibhava program as being the first 6 cantos, he said, and the previous books. So don't give it up. You know, you go through the Bhagavad Gita nicely, you're going to go through it again. Second time you teach it, And now you read Borijan's commentary directly and use that. Third time you write a thesis, some ideas of your own, like that. So anyway, we're looking at this here, and how to understand the Srimad Bhagavatam. So Radhika Raman, Krishna Kshetra, in their book, they're saying, what are the sources of commentaries? Of course, there's so many commentaries on the Srimad Bhagavatam, but they were taking 4. Prabhupada's commentary. Then in one book, which Prabhupada was using, there's a commentary by Vijay Dwaja Tirtha. Can't remember what it is. One is from Sri Sampradaya, the other is from Madhva Sampradaya. They have very prominent, powerful commentaries, and Prabhupada was using those. You can see that sometimes. Then he was using commentary by, I think, Vishwanath Chakravarti, maybe Narottam. And then commentary by Sridhar Swami. Madhvacharya wrote comments on the Srimad Bhagavatam before Sridhar Swami, but not the whole thing. So the first full commentary is Sridhar Swami. And he says pretty much just goes through it, gives a little explanation, and maybe some difficult words like that. But as I remember, he says Sridhar Swami actually belonged to Shankara Sampradaya. There's nothing new to understand. But his whole approach is totally devotional, with nothing in there about how we're all going to become one with Krishna and everything else and so on. Okay. So Sridhar Swami says that these 10 elements in the Srimad Bhagavatam occur in one canto after another. The first canto is Sarga, creation by Mahavishnu. Second canto is Visarga, for the subsequent creation by Lord Brahma. Third canto is creation of the Manus, by the Manus, of the Manus. In the fourth canto, we're starting to get down to the kings, like that, so on. So we're just discussing the creation at different levels, Then, the Manus and so on, like that. So Jiva Goswami, on the contrary, says, no, all these topics are discussed in every canto, like this and that. So if you're a disciple, what are you going to do now? Jiva Goswami says no. Sridhar Swami says yes. So Prabhupada says, this first canto can be known as Sarga. The second canto can be known as Visarga, like that. So let the acharyas, let King Kong and Godzilla fight. We'll kind of sit over here and eat popcorn and watch them fight. See what they say, But as far as we're concerned, we respect everybody and try to understand what's going on here. Okay. So this is kind of the structure. If you look at it, it matches up. Sarga, creation, cosmic manifestation. Visarga, status quo, like that. So more work to develop it. There's so much. Prabhupada says nobody can take everything the spiritual master is offering. In 100 years, you cannot study these books thoroughly. So it's a very important point, because Bhakti Vaibhava, Bhakti Vedanta, the approach we're taking, actually Prabhupada was suggesting it moving faster than we're moving. Some people are criticizing because, it's going so fast, 5 years, 4 years. But Prabhupada was suggesting even faster program, and his original things. Of course, he may have changed it considering the audiences. And in India, you can go faster. If you're a nice brahmachari living in the Govardhan eco-village, everything else, 1 chapter a day is not too fast. A couple of days of hard work, on the project, and the rest of the time hearing and chanting. But that's the kind of body you have, where you can sit down, you can understand something, you can be absorbed like that, So different places, different processes has to be adjusted. So, 10 cantos. Yeah. So developing this program. So now we're looking at the whole thing here. Okay. So we have this acronym, DDPP, for the 4th canto, which means Daksha, Dhruva, Pretu, Prachinibarihi, or Pracheta, which is shorter, or Paranjana. So actually it could be DDPP, PPP, like that. DDPP, PPP. Okay. Yeah. And of course, this is part of the broader program of DAP-UP, Devahuti, Akuti, Prasuti, Uttanapada, Priyavrata, like that, so on. You got everybody there, yeah. So this is the 4th canto. It's a reason why it's there. The Bhagavatam is very systematic. It's taking us to higher levels of development, you know, taking us to a very practical understanding of Krishna. Okay. Something's happening here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 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 Now we're doing this actually. We have 2 authorized centers for giving diplomas. In case you're interested in diplomas, when I mentioned the diplomas in Russia, Bhakti Vignana Maharaj said, "I'm not a fruitive worker." Okay. So yeah, it's okay. Same time too, Prabhupada wanted the diplomas. You know, and Vaisheshika said we should all use these titles after our. You know, we should make it known we have scholarship, we have abilities, glorify our sampradaya. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So in the Iskcon Silicon Valley Center, we're developing it out of that center. We're trying to cooperate with them and with the program in Boise. Mostly the students are from there. And they have our group, which is the premier group, which is struggling with a lot of problems. And then 2 groups after that, you know, on different cantos and so on. So they have altogether 3 different groups. And it's a lot of problems. We're going to be here for 1 week, and we want to do a lot of work. You know, otherwise, we almost have to... what's the word? Put everything on hold until we get things organized in terms of testing and the study guides, working on them. A lot of work to be done. You know, you know. And we're trying to cooperate with the programs in India. Program in Pune, program in Mayapur, and program in Vrindavan. Those 3 programs are there. And other people are following those programs. Then 1 program in Australia, 1 program in South India, and that's just about it in the whole world. Maybe 3, 5, 6, 7 programs in the whole world, and one of them is right here, like that. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So we see here the first part is Daksha, genealogical table of the daughters of Manu, because we had Devahuti, Akuti. She married Daksha. No, she married Ruchi, and their son was Yagna, who's incarnation of God. Kind of finishes that. Then Prasuti married Daksha, yeah. And then they had a daughter, and she committed suicide before she was old enough to have children. Hey, wait a second. In the modern world, if you heard this in our community here in Houston, people would say, what happened? This is terrible. How could she commit suicide? It's terrible. What to speak of during the Satya Yuga, whenever this is. So automatically, Maharajparika says, wait a second, what happened? So then there's a whole story, you know, of Daksha and Shiva, and then the final yagna performed properly. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so then we go then to Uttanapada, right? Devahuti, Akuti, Prasuti, Uttanapada. And Uttanapada was the father of Dhruva, yeah. So Dhruva leaves home, goes to the forest. In the Hindi movie, Swami Manu shows up and he asks you know, Uttanapada, how's everything in the kingdom? And he says, oh, Pita Shri, everything is fine, organization is good. He says, oh, everybody's happy? Yes, everybody's happy. What about Dhruva? Like that. Like that. And so he really gets heavy on him in the Hindi movie. Then, what's his name? Dinabandhu said, then he says, which basically in English, colloquial English would translate as, and all these problems for a good-looking chick. Like that. Spanish, mamacita. Yeah, Hindi word. Suruchi, and all these problems just because you're attached to some good-looking, you know, woman. Yeah. So they go off looking for Dhruva, in the movie and stuff, you know. So very, very instructive lesson. All these things, there's so many details, so many things. And what we're trying to do is maybe just go through, take our notes. Everybody should be developing their notes, and they're very well like that. And collectively as a group also. This is what we did, this is what we discovered. And now we're also working with the Ministry of Education, the Board of Examiners, they're getting it together. And hopefully we're going to have an integrated approach. Whereas if you do the first 2 years of Bhakti Vaibhava in Houston and move to Delhi, you can do the next 2 years out of Vrindavan. You know, there should be enough integration. There'll be differerences, of course, but there should be enough integration so the course is actually a standardized course to some degree. And the amazing thing is, when we're researching it, we come up with the same things where we can't understand Prabhupada as they do in Mayapur. Oh, we don't understand what Prabhupada's saying here. Well, the same things. It's amazing that by reading it, intelligent people developing the same kind of perspective on the books. Okay, Dhruva Maharaj leaves home. Swayambhuva Manu advises Dhruva to stop fighting. So he becomes the king, you know. And why is he fighting? Why is Dhruva Maharaj fighting? Huh? Yeah, to take revenge for his brother. His brother was killed by? Huh? Yakshas, yeah. Who probably says Tibetans, descendants of the Yakshas. And they came out. He didn't just kill people, unarmed people. They came out and fought with him. You know, so he responded. And very interesting because the king is a man of action, you know. The king is not self-controlled like a brahmana. The king expects his ministers to tell him things. He expects his family to tell him things. He's part of a community. So Dhruva Maharaj just let go of everything. And yeah, as he expected, then somebody came along and said, hey, calm down, you know. You're killing all these people because one person was a devil, you know, and so on. Okay. So certain pastimes are picked out like that. You know. Then finally is a description of Dhruva Maharaj goes back home, back to Godhead. You know. And he was living very, very properly. He was engaging in sense gratification to diminish his stock of pious activities and something else, austerities to get rid of his impious activities, and finishing it all off. You unplug the fan, but it's still spinning. Right? Yeah. So time of initiation, we get a spiritual body, which means now we're connected to Krishna. Yeah? Before we're under the care of Durga, now we're under the care of Radha, and she sees, okay, you got to go through this, you got to go through that. Sometimes we'll have very inauspicious dreams. Somebody may dream of having sex with his mother. You know? But Prabhupada says the devotee should not be disturbed by this, because Krishna sees we have all these materialistic desires, and to satisfy this, you've got to become a donkey, or become an ass, or become a buffalo, you know, to satisfy these. So in dreams, then, Krishna lets us, you know, see these things. And now from our transcendental position, usually we say, no way, forget it. Disgusting. You know. So we have karma to finish off after we become devotee. You know. But now that process is under the control of Krishna. You see? Yeah. Not that the karma is not there exactly, but now Krishna is controlling it. When it's going to come, when it's not going to come, like that, and so on. You know, for complete purification, motivation. Okay. Then we're coming now to our current section, and here we have chapters 14 through 23, which is how many chapters? 10. N plus 1. Yeah. And then this is, of course, the story of Prithu Maharaj. I think it's a study guide. Study guide just divided it, I think. I'm sure it divides it properly. I think it does. Okay. First module. Okay. Okay. So it's interesting because I tossed in the story of King Vena, and you'll see why. Okay. Yeah, suggesting it here. Yeah. So it comes on down then, and to Prithu Maharaj in these chapters. Then the second one is the Prachetas and Prachini Barahi. So very simple. These cantos are divided very easily. You can get a handle on them. And you can use them in for preaching. That's the whole purpose. We're studying this, you know, so we can become purified, so in proper opportunity we can use this to present to people. Okay. Okay, so if we look back then, because again, look at the first books, previous books. Okay. So the first, is Prithu mentioned in the first two cantos? Prithu Maharaj mentioned in the first two cantos. Yeah, where is he mentioned? Where would you look for him? Being a Bhakti Vaibhava student. Scheduled incarnations with specific functions. The Lord is the source of all incarnations. What chapters are those? Yeah. Yeah. The first canto, third chapter. Yeah, this is the same thing. How is God present through his energies? How is God present through his incarnations? How do we go to the spiritual world? That's Srimad Bhagavatam. So when Sudha Goswami is presenting to the sages of Naimisharanya, they ask their questions, he answers them all, and he gives one chapter talking about incarnations. When Brahma is presenting the same thing to Narada, the same way too. So second canto is Sukadeva Goswami to Maharaj Pariksit, 1, 2, 3. Introduction to Bhagavatam by Brahmata Narada, 4, 5, 6, 7. So seventh chapter. You find it both places. So what does it say? Let's look at this here. What does it say about this? Okay. Rishabir yachito bheje. Rishibir yachito beje Navamam partivam vapaho Dugde mam oshadir vipras Tenayam sa usattamaha. So he's mentioned here as Partivam, ruler of the earth. Okay. O Brahmanas, in the 9th incarnation, the Lord prayed for by sages, accepted the body of a king, Prithu, who cultivated the land to yield various produces, and for that reason the earth was beautiful and attractive. So does this cover everything? Yeah. It's actually just focusing on their request like that. Doesn't say about Bhavena, doesn't talk about anything else, but that's how Sutta Goswami summarized the incarnation, and very much focusing on what Prithu Maharaj did in terms of the earth, how he made the earth beautiful and protected everybody. Okay, Prabhupada says, before the advent of King Prithu, there was a great havoc of maladministration due to the vicious life of the previous king, the father of Maharaj Prithu. The intelligent class of men, namely the sages and brahmanas, not only prayed for the Lord to come down, but also dethroned the previous king. So Prabhupada's not even really talking about, he's talking a little bit about what the text says, but he's giving this background here, what he thinks is important. The Acharyas. It is the duty of the king to be pious, right? That's part of the king's duty. Duty to be pious. Yeah? Where's it going here? It is the duty of the king to be pious and thus look after the all-around welfare of the citizens. So can we apply this to a temple president in Iskcon? Yeah. Whenever there is some negligence on the part of the king in discharging his duty, the intelligent class of men must dethrone him. Yeah. So it's a very big topic here. We're discussing this now. It's a controversial topic. Okay. That means we have to go back to our sources. I was thinking that the that the GBC were super presidents, but then Bhakti Purnavidya Maharaj said, no, he probably wanted it to be more like the Raj Guru, like Vashishta, like Domya Rishi, like that, yeah. And so I heard that. Then I read all the when I was teaching the GBC college, I read all the citations they had from Prabhupada. That was the idea. The real administrators are supposed to be temple presidents, who are actually the hands-on guys who do stuff. And only if there's somebody, which happens quite often. This is Kali Yuga, not often, but regularly. This is Kali Yuga. Some temple president really goes into crazy activity, and then the GBC are supposed to come in, take over. Just like when Ram left, who was on the throne? Who was running the kingdom when Ram left? Before Bharata. Vashishta. Yeah, he takes over. That's his job. It's very clearly. If the President of the United States is killed, who takes over? The Vice President is killed, who takes over? I think it's the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Somewhere he's in line there. It's the same thing. Okay, like that. But he realizes, I'm not an administrator. I'm just supposed to watch things, keep things going, and that's enough. But things are building up, so he arranged then for Bharata, to take over. Yeah, okay. Whenever there is some negligence on the part of the king in discharging his duty, the intelligent class of men must dethrone him. The intelligent class of men, however, do not occupy the royal throne because they have much more important duties for the welfare of the public. So we have to develop. We have to develop not just management culture, but also Brahmanical culture. And Brahmanical culture then produces the Sankirtan, the preaching, the movies, the puppet shows, the different books and literature necessary, for our preaching at this time, our place, our circumstance, and so on. And of course, this is really especially the role of sannyasis. Prabhupada said all devotees should be very responsible in organizing Srimad Bhagavatam classes, but he said especially the sannyasis should do this. Balavanta. Rupanuga said that Prabhupada said one time, when will my sannyasis become like these Christian fathers and teach in the Gurukula? Yeah, so Prabhupada considered it a completely satisfying job for a sannyasi to be a Gurukula teacher, so on, different levels. Okay, so they had much more important duties to perform. Instead of occupying the royal throne, they prayed for the incarnation of the Lord, and the Lord came as Maharaj Prithu. Real intelligent men or qualified brahmanas never aspire for political posts. Yeah. Maharaj Prithu excavated many produces from the earth, and thus not only did the citizens become happy to have such a good king, but the complete side of the earth also became beautiful and attractive. So how did he do this? You remember? How about Bhakti Baba's students here? He went out with a plow and was plowing in the earth. He divided into hundreds of people. How did everybody get their desired produce from the earth? What did the demons desire? Huh? The earth became yeah, and then what happened? This is Srinivas Das. He is officially Bhakti by Bhava. Right here, he has a diploma with a number on the back. From Boise. His family is here too. Sudevi, Radha, Sundar Radhika. She's also Bhakti by Bhava. Yeah. And Sugopi is trying to become Bhakti Shastri. We'll work that out with Radha. Krishna's here. You got to stare at him and give him hard looks. You feel guilty. We'll work it out. Yeah. So what happened? Yeah, she became a calf, and then different groups of people came, and became a calf to stimulate her. The demons, who was the calf for the demons? Prahlad Maharaj, like that. Okay, and I think they took beer. They wanted from the earth was beer in an iron pot, and the Gandharvas took something else. It's very interesting. Everybody taking what they particularly wanted like that. Yeah? I have water. It's very impersonal. I have air. Very impersonal. I have sunlight. Very impersonal. I have the earth. And I have one seed. What's going to come out? Trees, mangoes, pineapples. It's all there in the earth, right? It's all there. What's doing it? It's bringing it out. It's in the earth. Whoop, 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 whoop. Yeah. It's amazing. It's all there. So Shiva took the form of a cow, and everybody then got what they wanted to get. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now here is this other one, 279, which is Lord Brahma's description of the incarnations. Yadvainam upatagatam dvijavakya vraja. Yadvainam utpatagatang dvijavakya vrajra. Nishplushta parisha bhagam niraye patantam. Tratvartito jagati putra padam chalebe. Dugda vasuni vasuda sakalani yena. Maharaj Vena went astray from the path of righteousness, and the Brahmanas chastised him by the thunderbolt curse. It says actually they killed him by using high-pitched sound, which sounds like they went on the internet and started posting all kinds of things about him. What goes on in Vegas stays in Vegas, right? That's a common phrase. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. And somebody put a thing up there that says, what happens in Vegas comes out on Facebook. So anyway, by high-pitched sound, they cursed him, they killed him. By this, King Vena was burnt, and his good deeds and opulence, and was en route to hell. So down below here, you see we have a little graphic of somebody on the highway to hell. Yeah, Maureen, she's on the highway to hell. It's a famous song there, if you know American culture, you know. Okay, so King Vena was en route to hell. Apparently he wasn't on the highway, he was just a little bit slower path. The Lord, by his causeless mercy, descended as his son, by the name of Prithu, delivered the condemned king from hell, and exploited the earth by drawing all kinds of crops as produce. So how does this match with the last statement about Vena? What things are similar? Doesn't say the Brahmanas called for him, but it talks about the same thing about the crops and the produce like that. So a very prominent feature of his incarnation was how he did that for the earth, point of view of the earth. But here also it talks about Vena. Was Vena a pious person? How did he become king if he wasn't a pious person? That's the point. He was. It says you only get that position because he did pious activities in the life, but then, given that position, power tends to corrupt, and absolute power tends to corrupt absolutely. Who said that? Anybody know who said that? Yeah. Lord Acton. I guess Acton, Lord Acton. It's very famous, very true. Power tends to corrupt, and absolute power tends to corrupt absolutely. So he got in that position. Abraham Lincoln said, many people do well in a difficult position. They're clean, they're honest, they work hard, like that. He said, if you really want to test a man, give him power and money. And then you'll see his character. Yeah. So Vena failed the test. Yeah, failed the test. How bad was Vena? Anybody know? You're Bhakti Bhava student. Tell us how bad was Vena. What did he do? Was he a bad dude? When he was a boy, was he a bad dude? My God, the test is coming up soon here. Get ready for the test. Huh? When he was playing with his friends? When his friend was playing with his friends and he disagreed with them, what would he do? He would kill them. Does anybody ever do that with your friends? No. Maybe you broke their toys or something. This guy's bad, And then what did he do? He stopped all sacrifices, and the Brahmanas came to him. And what did he tell the Brahmins? Huh? What did he compare them to? Huh? Yeah, but what did he compare the Brahmins to? He said, you're like a bunch of unchaste wives, like a bunch of prostitutes, like that. You're not worshiping the real husband. This guy's pretty... Okay. He's got great dramas. You get into express them in plays and stuff. It really impresses you. You won't forget it. My God, this guy's like over the hill. And the Brahmanas finally, my God, they said the Brahmanas could have just disappeared. That's their potency. They can just disappear, and go on with their life. But they thought, we got to take care of the people. Otherwise, we'll be criticized. So they used their high-pitched sound, got rid of him, and then they did cloning. They churned his thighs. Okay, sounds right like cloning. And who came out first? Bahuka. And he took all the sinful reactions. They said, sit down, which Bahuka means sit down. He said, sit down. And Nishida, sit down. Okay, please sit down. Submissive. Then came Prithu and Archie, like that, and so on. Yeah. Okay. So it's very interesting. He's on the road to hell here. The Bhagavatam doesn't talk about it. And so I was thinking, boy, I want to investigate that. Then right in the purport, probably tells the story. It's in the Vamana Purana. And what's the story? Anybody know? Are you ready for your test? Bhakti Bhava test. Yeah. He was in Kurukshetra, and he was a son of a Shudra and Shudrani, and he had leprosy. It's like, really tough situation. So Vena located him. Mars Prithu located him and had him purified by different sacrifices and stuff, and saved him like that. And hopefully he accepted it. he may have said, I didn't deserve it, or just, like that or something. Okay, then go back, But he may have accepted, yeah, okay, I was wrong, and thank you for correcting me, and become a good person. We don't know. Like that, yeah. Okay. Okay, but this is now the purport here. Okay, yeah. So it also talks about the Vakya Vajra, words of cursing thunderbolt. Who is this down below here? You recognize this person, this picture, this graphic? Yeah. Huh? Indra, but he has an eagle. It's interesting. This is Zeus. This is Jupiter. Jupiter is the head of the demigods in Greek culture. He's in charge of the thunderbolt. He's in charge of the rain. Yeah, and he has an eagle. Eagle. So eagle, what does that sound like? Sounds like they're mixing up Vishnu, as the king of the gods, because Vishnu has an eagle and so on. These are very interesting things. You got some way to look. You start researching more, and you start finding these things. Yeah, it's the same pantheon, the same things like that, and so on. Huh? Jupiter. Yeah. Zeus. Is he Jupiter? Zeus. I guess it's Jupiter. Yeah. Okay, mixed up. Okay. So here's the story of King Vena. Okay, we did this before. We're doing it again here. Why not? Okay. So it starts off with the story of King Vena. Okay. We include that because the actual text talks there too. Should, I guess, maybe fit into that. I would change this module now and include that there and make the other one kind of small. So what events happened? What happens in his life? Well, first off, the first 2 chapters, 15 and 16. Basically 14, 15, 16 is about his appearance, what happened. So he appeared, and it looks like he grew up right away, and there was a coronation. These are ceremonies, these are formalities, but not without meaning. Not without meaning. They actually have an effect. So in Diksha, it's a formality, the fire sacrifice, these things, The Diksha is almost something else. It's enlightenment. But there's a fire sacrifice, there's a priest, there's a Diksha guru, there's the deities, there's the devotees, So it's a formality, but not without meaning. So the coronation of Maharaj Prithu was especially not without meaning. The whole universe is falling in line, adjusting when this is happening, when there's a good king taking over. Everything's going to change. Yeah. Okay, and then he's being praised, and what does he tell the people? They're saying, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, you're going to do this. So what does he tell the reciters? Gopal there. What does he tell the reciters? They're praising him. What does he say? You know? This may be a question on the test. Yeah, you're saying it's like somebody saying this boy will be a great so-and-so. He said, this is not nice. Wait until I do these things before you praise me for these. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, what did he say? He said, exaggerated praise is another form of blasphemy. Right? Yeah. So you start praising somebody too much, it's blaspheming them. Yeah. So anyway, so the professional praisers, they looked over at the rishis, who may not be so great at writing poetry and everything else, but they know the situations. They looked at them and they went, like that. Go on. So this is how we tell an incarnation, right? We go to the sages, the intelligent people who know the scriptures, who can distinguish these things, the brahmanas, and that's how we can tell who's an incarnation. They said, go ahead. So he was praised by the professional reciters, and beautiful description of all of his Leela. Then 17, 18, and 19 are all about this pastime with the earth. People on the earth were hungry. Why were they hungry? There's no production, right? So he went after Bhumi, and he was going to talk with her. Yeah? So what did she do to protect herself? Took the form of a cow, but he still was going to kill her. Yeah. And then she started using reason and argument. If you kill me, everybody will die anyway. What did he say? Yeah? I can maintain them just by myself and also feed your body and stuff. So finally she surrendered, Because his argument was, you're taking your share of the sacrifice, but you're not giving things back. People are sacrificing. And she said, I'm not giving things to the people because... Because they're demons and they're using all this stuff to create weapons, to do all these horrible things like that. So it's a little bit of a sophisticated argument like that. We're discussing the different sides, and there are purports describing all the things. So in the end, finally, she accepted his position, his attitude, and everything else. And then he milked the earth planet. Okay. So then 1920, I guess, are the whole story of Maharaj Prithu and King Indra. Yeah. So Maharaj Prithu was going to do how many horse sacrifices? 100 horse sacrifices. But then he would acquire the potency to become Indra. So what did Indra do? Yeah, he kept stealing the horse. So how did he do that? He came as a cowboy? He came disguised as a sannyasi. Yeah. We were in South America, in Argentina. I told this story before. And Harikesh Maharaj had his problems and then fallen down, okay. And he had initiated a lot of people there. So in South America, people were very disturbed. And I landed in Miami after an all-night flight. And one very prominent devotee picked me up at the airport. And he was very disturbed. How could this happen? So forth, so on. He's great Uttamadhikari, everything else. To me, he was my godbrothers. By that time, I wasn't thinking that everybody was all Uttamadhikaris, and everything else like that, so on. Advanced devotees, yes. Yeah. So anyway, then I went to the temple, and I was just going to go see the deities. The curtain was opening, and then go take a rest. I've been up all night. So you got to give class. You got to give class. Okay, all right. I sat down. And it was exactly about the story of Indra Indra disguised as a sannyasi, Indra running off with this and everything else. And right there was the word Ritvik. It was like, okay. Yeah. So, basically the idea is that the administrators, they see the brahmanas are falling down, the sannyasis are falling down, the gurus are falling down. So the easiest thing is to become a Ritvik and eliminate gurus, right? Now we won't have any more gurus falling down because you eliminated them. That's right. Right? Prabhupada's the only guru, and one was a guy, Ed Vishwanathan. I talked with him, a very nice person. He wrote a book which was titled Daddy, Am I a Hindu? You know this book at all? It's a little kid asking his father, and he tells him about all the different groups in the world, about gurus. Basically, it's a little thing for kids growing up in America about Hinduism. And he comes to Iskcon. He's actually a life member, goes to the temple a lot. And he says, such a pious society. He says it's very, very difficult to think how anybody could become a member of this society. They have to do these rounds. They got to follow these principles. He was saying this and that, But as far as guru, I was reading his book, and basically it seemed like what he was saying was that if you're going to have a guru, you should get a dead guru, right? Because then he won't be interfering with your life too much, and also he won't embarrass you by having problems, so on like that. It's a good strategy. Pick a guru, pick one who's like, In some ways, you could put it another way. Pick somebody who's proven himself, like that, and who's above it all. Okay, yeah. So we have Prabhupada. He's an acharya. So anyway, but then Prabhupada's purport, the conclusion was that, okay, you think you become Ritvik, make Prabhupada the only acharya in Iskcon, the only Diksha guru for the next 10,000 years is Prabhupada. That's one whole community, Well, how's he going to take the sin? Well, he's on a heavenly planet. He hasn't gone back home to Godhead. He's going to stay there for 10,000 years, taking the sin of people who get initiated by the system. Yeah. So, but Prabhupada is saying, you may think this is a fact, but what will happen then is that the common people, yad yada charati shrestas, tad tadeva tado janaha, the common people have to have an example. They have to learn by example. So if you eliminate all the gurus, you eliminate all the sannyasis, eliminate the brahmanas, then it's going to be a worse chaos. So the thing is, as an administrator, to deal with the situation, put people in the right position, and like that, and do your work, and let them do their work, and so on. So very interesting. So Indra was setting bad example for all this. Yeah. Then what happened? You know, Brahma came and, you know, made peace. You just do 99 sacrifices and you accept him, you know. And then they became great friends. There's many cases people don't become friends after fighting. A very common thing is that you only can become friends after fighting. Then you realize, oh, and they became great friends, and you take care of the earth, I'll take care of heaven, and we'll, you know, get together every now and again and drink nectar and stuff and talk about our problems and exchange notes and so on. Okay. And then Vishnu appeared in the sacrificial sacrifice. I think it's the same time, right? That's the same Leela. Vishnu appeared and gave very, very beautiful advice. And what does he tell Maharaj Prithu? Yeah. Actually, Vishnu actually stopped it pretty much. You know. What did he tell him? What did he tell him there? The test is coming. Huh? Yeah. Yeah. And he also said, you're a liberated soul. You're a liberated soul already. You're an advanced devotee. And if somebody advanced like you starts manifesting symptoms of greed for material profit, it's not good, like that and so on. Yeah. So become more purified, more self-satisfied. Yeah. Okay. And then finally, Prithu Maharaj gives his instructions. One more thing. And Prabhupada says we should use those for establishing our study of political science. What does he say? What's included in the instructions of Maharaj Prithu? Remember anything? What does he say? Varna Ashram Dharma. Yeah, he's preaching Varna Ashram Dharma. And what does he talk about? The king in Varna Ashram Dharma, about himself. What does he talk about the king? That was his position. Yeah. Yeah. But one thing he says is that I'm going to acquire sinful reactions or pious reactions after my death because of you. So please be kind to your king, right? And perform your Varnashram duties properly, right? And if you can understand it, do them for Vishnu. Do them as a sacrifice for Vishnu. Did Lord Chaitanya accept this when Ramananda Roy was presenting devotional service? He said, yes. You do your, Ramananda Roy said, devotional, the best thing I know is that one should engage in Varna Ashram Dharma and sacrifice the result to Krishna. No? He didn't accept that. Yeah, no. What's the first thing he accepted? Ramananda Roy accepted. Lord Chaitanya accepted. He said, no, go higher. Now go higher. It's still material. You should renounce everything and become a sannyasi. That's still not good. You may fall down. Yeah. Huh? It's he quoted a verse by Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma says, yeah. Translation? He said, I'm a speaker. Lord Brahma says that whatever position you're in, if you're a lady, if you're a kshatriya, if you're a business person, whatever combination, whatever is your nature, whatever you're doing like a gentleman, living a proper life, you know, stay there, right? And engage as much as you can in hearing and chanting, cultivating hearing and chanting. And Lord Chaitanya said, yes. Okay. So that was the basic level of being a devotee, is be a decent person, follow the 4 principles, and chant your rounds. That's the basic right there. And of course expand it like that and so on. Yeah. And then from that, all good fortune will follow. You'll be able to start developing and becoming a devotee. You know? So you don't have to take birth in Iskcon again and go to the Goswami Academy. Everybody should support the Goswami Academy because in your next life we may all be there. Kavera will be walking over looking at the house on the way home. That house looks familiar to me. Why am I attracted to this house? Why am I living in these Chinese apartments now? You're laughing, but yeah. Yes. Okay. Instructions by Maharaj Prithu. And then we have Prithu Maharaj is meeting with the 4 Kumaras. So what do we have? His appearance, his pastimes with the earth, his pastimes with Indra, And then finally his meeting with the four Kumaras, like that. You know? And finally going back home, back to Godhead. So any kind of questions about this? Comments? Yeah. This is the four Kumaras. Yeah. That's enough. Questions, comments, complaints? It's enough for one night. Now we should read the Krishna book and drink hot milk with sugar. Yes. And forget all about this idiot's class. Okay, so tomorrow, let's look a little bit closer at some of these things here, because there's so much here, right? How can you cover this all in 6 months or something? But you can find out what you need to find out. Everybody should be developing, interest, taste, sorting it out, And maybe we do need to go slower. We're pioneering this, Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah.
How do you put that in a modern context? I mean, how can people become devotees and feel bad for our ancestors or parents? We cannot make them to be devotees.
So the question is that Prithu Maharaj traced out his father in his next life and helped him with his karma and everything else. Can we do this in the modern context? Probably if we are Prithu Maharaj in the modern context, we might be on that level where we're purified enough. The Mormons do it, right? In the Mormons, they track down their ancestors. They have a whole genealogical thing, incredible genealogical purport. And it's like Pitrulok, it's Pitri worship. Basically, it seems very much their focus is like Pitri worship. And then they offer them the chance to be baptized. They offer their ancestors a chance to be baptized and stuff. So it's very going on like that. I think these things they're in our scriptures, they're in our resources, but Prabhupada, when he was starting off, didn't implement them. He just said, like, do this, do that, and stuff. But it doesn't mean they can't be implemented. Krishna would do this, and stuff, and so on. So I think, you look at this, what is it, Gopal Guru is kind of the acharya for all these rituals and stuff in our Sampradaya. So, but if nothing else, I think the general idea is to have a Shraddha ceremony, And when you die, you're floating around in the subtle atmosphere, and what people are thinking is going to be your atmosphere and stuff. So everybody's cursing you and glad to see you gone. So I hope you've gone to hell. Okay, but if people are remembering you fondly and thinking about different things you did and responding, then it's going to be very important for you to develop your bhava for the next body you're going to get. So a certain number of days after the disappearance, then we have a nice, picture and offer Mahaprasad to the person, the deities, and everybody talks about their activities and glorifies and puts them in focus like that. And that should be nice kirtan. And maybe even every year, on anniversary, you can sponsor a Sunday feast. Yeah. Okay.
So when we compare, these administrative aspects and try to compare with the management,
Yeah.
I'm just curious because the examples of the kings.
Okay, so his question is, when we try and compare, take these applications and apply them to our present management situation in Iskcon. Yeah.
So, however, these kings, monarchs, they would impose taxes on people.
Yeah.
And they would maintain themselves with those taxes.
Yeah.
So there is, then they would get the reactions of them and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in this context, usually they're volunteers. They
Yeah.
work for pay.
So the kings would apply taxes. They would go around, show up with 4 soldiers with spears and collect 30% of the grain produce, and